In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a buyer persona for your business and also why most people are getting this horribly wrong. So if you've ever spoken to a marketing consultant or an agency or a marketing coach, you've probably had it drilled home countless times about how important a customer avatar or a buyer persona is. And yes, it is important, there's no way around it, but it doesn't have to be as dull, boring, and laborious as most people make it out to be. Because here's the thing, a lot of people when they talk about creating buyer personas focus on things like the demographics, right? So, our buyer persona is a female aged 30 to 40 years old. This information ends up being completely useless because, you know, a female is a different person on a Monday morning than she is on a Friday night, let alone to what she is between 30 and 40 years old, right? So it's not really giving us any real clarity or context to who that person is, and therefore allowing us to make our marketing any easier. It's a massive generalization, and if there's one thing that kills marketing campaigns, it's generalization. So what you really want to be doing is picking one person. I'm talking about an individual, giving them a name, going onto Google or Facebook if you have to, and finding an image, a face that you can put against this person as a reminder to you and your team that you are literally marketing to this one individual. Now I know what you're thinking.
What about everyone else that we serve?
And don't worry, I'm going to come onto that shortly and show you how by doing this, you're actually going to get even more customers who even don't fit into this profile you're going to create. So in order to build up this buyer persona, you literally want to stalk this individual that you've created. So you want to write down who are the people that they're following on social media, what are they doing in their spare time, what are they doing in their evening, what are their likes, their dislikes, their fears, their dreams, their hobbies, what do they do on weekends, what kind of language are they using in their interactions. One of the things you can do, for example, is by going on and thinking about some of the books that they might be reading, going onto a website like Amazon, looking up those books and then looking at some of the reviews on those books, because that will give you an incredible insight into the language patterns and some of the terminology that your customer may be using and some of the things that they may be thinking about as well. Now the key here is to pick that one person who you know that would absolutely love your product or service the most, that would be like an absolute raving fan. Or the person who's going to get the most benefit from your product or service, who you're really going to be able to help the most. And please try not to be greedy here. Really think about who is that one person who would be an absolutely dream customer for you. The other thing you can do is just look at some of your existing customer success stories, seeing what are the commonalities here, and then picking out one person from those who you've managed to achieve the biggest success for, or maybe who had the, you know, best results, or they enjoyed your product the most. I'm also going to link to a free worksheet you can download in the description below that will just help you go through some of these and start brainstorming and creating this clear customer avatar and buyer persona for your business. Now this all might sound a little bit crazy and obsessive and even stalkerish, but the reason this is so important is because it allows you to create marketing and messaging on your website, in your advertising campaigns, that stops people in their tracks because it is so relevant to them and you're able to tell a very detailed story. And this is absolutely an essential in a world that is more distracted than ever. Now, if you're worried about losing potential customers or thinking, oh God, but what about, you know, if I pick this male who's 24 years old, he's single, he's going out on the weekends, what about the 32-year-old female who also buys my products? But here's the thing that will happen. You want to make sure that whatever product or service you're selling, you are ultimately solving a problem for the market. So even if your messaging in a particular ad is speaking to, you know, Tim, who is a 27-year-old male, it's still going to appeal to a 33-year-old Sandra, for example, because it's solving the same problem. But what happens is when you're able to tell a very specific story to Tim, Sandra will be able to see herself in that story, even if all of the details in there don't match. And this is the beauty of it, because it allows you to get very, very clear and tell powerful stories. The reason this is important, if you think about when you last went to see a movie, right? Let's say Star Wars, for example. I'm assuming that you're not a Jedi Knight and that you haven't been through the same things Luke or Anakin Skywalker has been through. However, you find moments of relatability. You look for things in that story and think, how does this apply to me? And that's what happens when you create a clear and concise customer avatar, is because it's allowing you to tell that story, people will see themselves in it and they'll feel much more able to relate and much more compelled to buy your product, because it ties it into a story and it's no longer just an ad, which people are pretty much sick of these days. Now, a question that I hear quite a lot is, can I have, or do I need to have multiple buyer personas? And the answer is maybe. The reason I say maybe is because you want to think about the stage of business you're at. Having multiple buyer personas means that you're going to have multiple marketing channels, multiple different marketing campaigns that speak to each of those individuals. Now, the difficulty with that is it's incredibly resource intensive. So if you're a brand new startup and you don't have a huge team at the moment, or huge amounts of money to pay to an agency to execute these things, you really want to be careful with where you're putting your time and attention. The example I always give here is Gymshark, right? $billion brand serving people all over the world who fit into all different customer personas and buyer profiles. But it didn't start that way. If you're familiar with Ben Francis's story, who founded the company, when Gymshark actually started, they had one core product when they started, which was basically like string vests that would actually fit, wannabe bodybuilders who maybe didn't have the physique, and it just drowned them, right? So it was making a very particular type of clothing for a very particular type of individual. Now, as they've grown, obviously they've radically expanded who they're talking to, and they will have multiple different campaigns running to appeal to lots of different individuals. But it didn't start that way. In order to get traction as a small business, you want to pick one person that you can start helping and serving and tailoring your marketing to, and then building from there. So there you have it, guys. Be sure to grab your free customer avatar worksheet in the description below. And in the next video, I'm going to be showing you how you can use Amazon to start really painting a very, very clear picture of your customer avatar. So be sure to click the link coming up on screen now, check out that video, and I will see you guys there.